going to get now over to meteorologist Amanda Pappas, who says she's got some of the latest data here on the track, and then as we're watching the surge numbers come down as well as the storm is now over Georgia at this point, Amanda.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So let's talk about first, realistically, folks, I'm really happy to say that we do see the current storm surge levels are much lower. Look at this improvement right here. So we're seeing about 3.6 feet currently for St. Pete, the eastern portion of Tampa Bay as well at 3.5 feet, Port Manatee at 3.3 feet. So these numbers are dropping. I just updated this graphic with this fresh information. Clearwater Beach at 2.2 feet and Crystal River now dropping from 10 previously at that peak to 8.8. So taking a look back at what we saw, majorly the big thing here, and we knew this the whole entire time, was the fact that we were going to see surge, and that was going to be mainly a water event, this system. So we got to think about that. And realistically, folks, right now the system is a Category 1 hurricane that's pushing into southern portions of Georgia. As it moves over land, it's cut off from its energy source. So that's actually great news, because that's going to weaken the system by a lot and very quickly. So it's going to be no surprise later on into today, and especially early tomorrow, we're going to see this system weaken into a tropical storm. We see that in the track. Currently, it has sustained winds still of about 80 miles per hour, moving to the north and northeast at about 20 miles per hour as it gets closer to South Carolina, continuing to maintain Cat 1 strength. But as we get to North Carolina, right around Wilmington, heading into Thursday morning, the system's still going to have a good amount of rain and a good amount of wind with it. However, it'll be downgraded potentially to a tropical storm and then continue to push eastward and off into the Atlantic. And then long range, we could see going into the Labor Day weekend that this system would be pushing closer to Bermuda long term. So 12 hours, let's talk about what we have going on here. The surge is starting to drop. Conditions are rapidly improving. We still do have residual bands of rain to get through. So we're going to continue to see these rain chances up until tonight, realistically. So that's one thing to note. If you need to be out and about, realistically, you don't need to do that right now. So you want to hold that off until tonight and realistically to tomorrow. You don't need to be outside for today, folks. We still do have Hurricane Idalia right here. There's that eye right over that border of Georgia and Florida at this point in time, just to the northwest of Jacksonville and northeast of Tallahassee. So we are still dealing with the residual rain bands right here that are going over the Tampa Bay area. Now, taking a zoomed in look closer to home on live radar, we do see a good amount of higher reflectivities right here in that red and orange shading. So that's something that we want to continue to monitor, and just hopefully we'll see more of this start to turn to that lighter green that would indicate some lighter rainfall. So still some bands of heavier rainfall moving through, but definitely a lot of areas that are dry pockets right here. So there's all these big slots of drier conditions. We see over towards Pasco County looking very dry right now. Meanwhile, just a couple miles south in Hillsborough dealing with some more of that rain. And then we do see for St. Pete right now, St. Petersburg definitely looking a little more wet with that moderate to heavy amount of rainfall right there. And we do see for Lakewood Ranch, they have gotten rounds and rounds of rain, and that's going to be what we call training. When we see storms and bands of rainfall, especially over a short period of time in the same exact areas again and again, that's going to lead to that freshwater flooding threat, in addition to already having an abundant amount of surge. So stepping out of the way right here so you guys can see, just to the west of Highway 17 right there in DeSoto County, we do see a good amount of cells producing some heavier amounts of rainfall as well. Lake Placid, light to moderate rainfall. And then as we look over towards portions of Polk County, definitely seeing a good amount of heavy rainfall right here. Some stronger storms, still some lightning going off within them. Armature Works still looking like that water is very high, and you have to, please, folks, turn around, don't drown, do not be swimming, do not be walking, or just anything in this water is possible at this point. So going through Hurricane Ian, I had to walk through those floodwaters, unfortunately, and you have to keep this in mind. There was balls of fire ants that were in the floodwaters, in addition to multiple marine life animals that we saw, alligators, sharks going down streets. That's possible when we see these floodwaters, or live wires even. So you do not want to be walking through these flooded waterways, or roadways, I should say, and areas, especially those low-lying areas that are already prone to flooding on a typical thunderstorm day. So keep that in mind. Remember, turn around, don't drown, and do not drive or just swim or play in any of these floodwaters. It's extremely dangerous for you and your family. Now, outside of that, tides right now, we do continue to see that high tide is going to come in right around 1 p.m. here. So we do see that, and then heading into tonight, 9:21, that's when we reach that low tide for St. Pete, and then our next high tide following up as we head into 3:42, so tomorrow morning, and you could wake up on the bright side at 4:30, and we'll have all that information for you as well. Recent wind gusts showing us that we saw some very gusty winds over towards Bradenton and Sarasota, 70 miles per hour there, 62 over Anna Maria Island and St. Pete Clearwater area. We do see 59 on the board there, so definitely was a very windy day. We do see conditions definitely starting to improve a little bit though over towards this camera right here, so definitely feeling a very warm and sticky still. Humidity sitting at 88%. That dew point very high at 79, and we do see those winds are still really moving at about 17 miles per hour, moving in from the west and southwest. So that is going to be a really big update as that system pushes farther away from us. Those winds come more from the west instead of the southwest, so that is going to have effects on the surge. So that's what's going to allow our surge to go down in these waterways and also roadways to become unflooded as we head into the evening hours. So that's something that we can look forward to. Current winds, still majority of them coming in from the southwest, and those southwesterly winds are what's pushing all this water still into the bay in some areas, but we are seeing rapid improvements with our conditions, and here's why. As we continue to head throughout the afternoon, the eye of the system will move farther away from us, farther northward into Georgia and South Carolina, and that is going to mean our winds begin to die down. Look at 8 p.m. We could be right back in that 5 to 10 mile per hour category with those winds still coming in from the west and southwest as well. So that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, we do see at this time that the rain bands as well are going to die down. Again, once that center continues to push towards the Carolinas, that's going to leave us with better conditions heading into later tonight. Take a look at this. This is 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight. All those residual rain bands are moving away from us. We still could see some areas of showers and storms at times, but heading into midnight, we begin to dry out. And then we do see a couple areas of some showers and storms early tomorrow morning, but major improvements are on the way, folks. So here's what you can expect county by county, realistically for Citrus and also for Pasco County at this time, along with Hernando. What we see is that surge is still pretty high. Those high waters are still going to maintain themselves up until this afternoon and tonight, and then they'll recede. Then for Pinellas and Hillsborough, that surge not as great, so that is going to be good news. So we'll have high water there up until about 2 p.m. Then things will start to subside. That rainfall so far 2 to 5 inches, and those winds will begin to die down as well heading into later tonight. And then taking you down south a little farther to Manatee and Sarasota County as well. We're seeing more of the same, similar to Hillsborough and Pinellas, that we are going to see very low threat for tornadoes that'll die off completely as we head into later evening hours. So here's your 7-day forecast to wrap you up today. As Idalia moves away from us, our conditions will rapidly improve into the evening hours. And then take a look at your Labor Day weekend. Here's your good news. Our rain chances taper off completely by Saturday and Sunday to take out the boat, and we will return back to normal to then ring in this weekend. Back to you guys.